What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise Postgame Show. I am glad to be back live with you guys. I have had an eventful past 30 hours or so. I'll get into that. Shout out to Eric for pulling off the solo stream last night. Did a really good job, Eric, and you had some news, some unexpected news breaking in the middle of that. So
I was reading the player's box score, wasn't even looking at chat at the time, and
I
everyone's
know.
like, "Eric, you idiot, look at chat." I was like, "What?"
I hopped in chat right before you realized chat was spamming Shams, Olshey, and misconduct. Yeah, so yikes. I mean, we'll see how this develops. I did a Twitter space. I'm going to do more of those. I did a Twitter space and talked with a few of you guys on that whole thing. But yeah, so basically, I'm just going to get into my past 30 hours, and then we're going to get into this phenomenal game because this was a fun one. I was not able to really focus on this game, and I missed basically almost the entire first half. That's a part of this story. So my computer basically just said, no stream for you last night. I went downstairs after the game like, yes, I can finally talk about a Blazer win. It's been a minute since the Blazers won a game. I go downstairs, and my computer screen is black. I'm like, okay, I'm pressing stuff, nothing's happening. All right, my glitched out. Go to restart my computer, and it's just stuck on the boot up screen. So I was live tweeting that whole mess. That was a lot of stress, and Eric did a good job just going live. And yeah, so basically the SSD, I'm not computer literate. I'm illiterate when it comes to computers, but apparently the SSD just completely corrupted, got messed up. My computer wouldn't work. It was just hanging on the iBuyPower, which is the PC I use. It was hanging on that screen. So I'm sitting here like, dang, who is going to fix this? Every Best Buy appointment was like tonight for 7:30 p.m. in Portland. I'm all the way up in Vancouver. So I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to have to miss tomorrow's stream, and how am I going to sort this out? I don't even know what's wrong. And I had somebody that lives in Seattle, has family here in the Portland area because his family is Aaron Fentress. Aaron Fentress' son came down from Seattle and helped me out. Dude was a really cool guy. Fixed it in about an hour, gave me a new memory, SSD, whatever you want to call it. I'm dumb when it comes to computers. So he fixed that, and it just wiped out all the graphics. So if this post-game graphic looks a little bit different to you guys, it's because it is. I tried to create it during the second half of this game. Got that good to go. Every other graphic for post-game streams I did have backed up, but all the picks against the spread stuff and other graphics and thumbnails I'm going to have to recreate from scratch. So that happened, and then I was going to drive home. I spent some time with my mom. It was a hectic past, day or so, so I went over there just to clear my mind, see my mom, and on the way home I hit a pothole and dented my rim for my car, so I had to put on the spare, and I have to figure that out, so that's why I missed almost the entire first half of this game. So yeah, it's been pretty hectic, but I'm here with you guys now, so I'm happy. I'm happy to be talking about a Blazer blowout win over the Los Angeles Lakers. The Blazers getting back to 500 after beating the Indiana Pacers. I'm happy to be talking about Dame kind of breaking out of his slump tonight. He shot the ball well, finally. I mean, it's just, after everything that's happened with me, I'm so happy to be here with you guys talking about the Blazers beating the Lakers handily, and I'm happy to be back on stream with Eric tonight. So, Eric, how's your past 30 hours have been? How have they been? Hopefully they haven't been as bad as mine.
Yeah, I've been good, man. I haven't had any issues like you. Was glad I was able to figure things out last night. And as Jackson Burgess says with his $5 Australian dono, yo, I dang told you, Eric, what's up? Let's go, Dame. He was saying last night that Dame was going to break out against the Lakers and that we would win, get to 5-5, and that came true, thankfully. Mm-hmm. And then Near012 with a $5 donation says, welcome back, LOL. And Pim Oraz says, you back.
Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, I'm just happy to be on stream with you guys. So I have to sort out other things. I like that we don't have a game for 2 days now. It's just that's what sucked about it, is it happened on the first night of a back-to-back. So that's the part that made me panic. So I'll have to. Me and the guy that came down and fixed my computer, his name is Isaiah. He said he watches us, so that's pretty cool. And we're gonna have to sort out some advertisement for him, because I have a customer case story that isn't a lie, right? A lot of podcasts, they plug sponsorships, man, and you're like, oh, they're lying. You know what I mean? They say they went and used this product and they changed their whole life and whatnot. But I have a real story, so I'm going to have to turn that into some advertisement for him. So, yeah, if your guys'
He's in here right now.
Yeah, well, what's up? So if you guys have computers catch on fire or something, he has the magic touch. So, yeah. Without him, though, I wouldn't be on here right now with you guys. So, huge shout out to Isaiah, Fentress, in chat. Appreciate it. All right, so appreciate you guys that donated. Let's jump into the game, Eric. The Blazers did their job tonight. They handled business. I was on the pre-game show for Rip City Radio 620, and I got asked a picks against the spread question. I am in last place. I'm in 8th place. Last place between Eric, Chat, all our mods, and picks against the spread. And I got asked a picks against the spread question. And I said, if Anthony Davis is playing tonight, I would take the Lakers. And I think the Blazers win. It's just going to be close. The Blazers were favored by about 5.5 points, right? And I said, since I'm saying that, they're probably going to blow them out by 30. And they blew them out by 30. So next time I'll have to ask you, Eric, the defending picks against the spread champion, for advice on, a pick. I don't want to be leading the listeners of Rip City Radio 620 astray with my horrible picks against the spread advice.
Man, if someone says, though, they're terrible at picking, which you said right off the bat, they should know to fade that whatever answer you get then. So if they were smart bettors, they would have done the opposite of what you said. And yeah, so.
Exactly. That's a great point. So I just need to throw that caveat out there time.
You did warn them, yeah.
Yeah, I did not want to be liable for leading people astray. So, I have to admit it when I'm struggling, and I'm struggling in terms of picking games. But this game was not a struggle for the Portland Trailblazers, Eric. What were your main takeaways from this game? You're kind of going to be leading the charge here because you probably focused on this and I was not able to.
Before we get to that, Caleb Pendergraft for the $2 dono, a little inside joke. You should try picking the favorite story.
All right, Caleb, appreciate the donation.
So on offense in this game, I felt like we started off the game playing a really good brand of basketball. We're moving off ball. We got good shots. We weren't doing a lot of ISO or pick and roll. We were going through Nurk more than we have in previous games. I really like the little Nork and I called him Nerm. Norm and Nurk.
What's a Nork?
Norm and Nurk. It's the Nerm, I guess.
Tandem. No, I like Nork.
Nork? Okay.
Yeah, I like Nork.
Let's call it Nork.
Hell
I like the Nork action right now. I feel like whenever there's a cutter off ball, when Nurk has the ball, it usually leads to good things. And Norm has been cutting a lot more often than he has, and it's leading to him getting some easy shots. I think he's gotten an easy bucket at the beginning of the last 2 games. Mm-hmm. So I like that action. I thought the defense was really rough the first 4 or 5 possessions. And then from then on, I thought the defense was locked in, and we just had a great game plan for a team like the Lakers. Make their non-shooters shoot the ball, and don't let any of their other guys get easy shots. And it's actually... They mentioned this on the broadcast. When you're playing a team like the Lakers, especially when they don't have LeBron, it's kind of easy to game plan for them, especially if Westbrook doesn't have like a good shooting game. Like it usually plays right into your game plan when you have a team like that. So it worked out pretty well for us tonight. And outside of the garbage minutes at the end, I thought our defense was really, really good in this game.
Yeah. We started off. What was the score we started off with? It was like 25-10 at one point. I was listening to it on the radio.
Yeah, I think it was 10-10, and then it was like 25 or 28-10 or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they had to call multiple timeouts. Yep.
Yeah, it was kind of a vibe, man. I put the donut on my car and had to take back roads. I was up in Ridgefield, Washington. Shout out to you if you know what that is. But had to drive down to Vancouver. Couldn't drive on I-5. You're not supposed to drive over 35, 40 miles an hour with a donut on your car, okay, kids? That's life lessons with Tori, all right? So I've taken country back roads, just vibing, driving all slow, not in a rush, listening to Travis Demers get all hyped that Damian Lillard was making threes. And it was nice, man. It was nice. So it was nice for him to hit shots, but it sounded like the defense was stifling. So who stood out kind of during that initial run for you when we built that first quarter lead in terms of the defensive end?
On the defensive end, it was Nurk. Outside of, like I said, those first few possessions where they got a couple of dunks, I felt like he was really good positioned, and he recovered really well. And our strategy, the thing was, it wasn't a strategy necessarily that led to one person standing out on that end. I felt like everyone was doing their role, and it kind of led to them taking some bad shots or the exact shots we wanted them to take. And then Rocco had a couple of good possessions when AD was still in the game guarding him. And I just thought everyone in that first quarter played really well on the defensive end. And outside of Zeller, when he came in, he gets blown by Dwight Howard off the dribble for a dunk. Other than that, there wasn't too many mistakes outside of those first few possessions. So good to see them locked in and execute the game plan pretty well this game.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a tale of two teams, home and road, man. This is their fifth win in a row at home, and they've gotten it done defensively. They struggled outside of the first quarter against Indiana, but tonight, through and through, a great defensive game. And I mean, the Lakers I'm just going to say this, the Lakers aren't that good. Even if healthy, I don't think they're as good as people thought they were going to be going into the season. Everybody was saying, oh, they're the favorite in the West. They got Russell Westbrook. Dude, that trade is a bad trade for them. That trade, I said it at the time, that trade is not a good trade. Westbrook has some talent, right? And theoretically, he's more talented than the three players that the Lakers gave up for him. They gave up Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma, and Montrezl Harrell. But talent and production are two different things. And Westbrook is a somewhat talented player that doesn't produce positively often, especially at the start of seasons. He's rough. And I don't know exactly what he shot tonight. Let me pull up the box score.
1 for 13, I believe.
1 for 13.
Yep.
I didn't realize it was that bad. 1 for 13. I mean, when he's doing that, how many turnovers did he have?
He had 6 turnovers and 6 assists.
Dude, I mean, we could have traded them Kelvin Legends for Russell Westbrook, and I'm not sure they would have been worse tonight. I mean, how does it get worse than that?
I think he had 3 air balls. Can't really say too much when Dame's had.
Yeah, but Dame is known as a shooter, and we know Dame's going to break out. When Westbrook airballs, it's like, oh, wow, he didn't Westbrook, he West airballed. It's to be expected with him. He's not a shooter. So, I don't know, man. And I don't like his fit with AD and LeBron. And I've been saying that. I don't like his fit there. And I don't like his game. I don't think it is conducive for winning basketball games. And, I mean, he was horrible tonight. He was absolutely horrible tonight. And they lost AD early. They did not. Who was their best player tonight? I don't know, man. I mean,
Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves was their best player, who I said was a sleeper, man. He's looking pretty nice. So I'm patting myself on the back too much with some calls because I definitely missed some this past offseason. But I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of rambling here, and I don't really know where I'm going with this, but go ahead.
The thing I don't get is why run Russ in the pick and roll? Like, it doesn't make sense because we were just going under him, and he wasn't hitting shots. There was a play where Nance got switched onto him. Nance just basically dared him to shoot a three, and Russ came at him and shot like a 15-footer instead, and he airballed. It was hilarious. But yeah, so thought that was a really good strategy. There was also a play where Russ drove and missed like 3 times in a row, got the rebound and kept missing. Lay-ins were getting blocked. It was hilarious too. Yeah, love to see that as a Blazer fan, but
I mean, that just makes it easier because here's the thing, like, I'm just looking at the stats, and I wasn't tracking stats, obviously, throughout the game. Let's look at the team stats. Do you want to look at the team stats?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, no, I got to update this. All right, let me update this to...
Cleveland.
Yeah, that's depressing. This is less depressing, all right? We go from Cleveland to Los Angeles like LeBron, but no LeBron tonight. The shooting, I didn't realize we shot that bad. 38% from the field, 27% from three.
Yeah, our three-point shooting, especially, man, CJ had like 4 or 5 wide open threes that he missed.
He was 1 for 10.
Yeah. But
you can't complain about those. If he gets open shots, you want him shooting every open shot. Like, that's a good possession if you get CJ McCollum an open shot. If he has an off shooting night, he might go 1 for 10, but you don't want him to stop shooting because you expect that to average out and him to start hitting at least 40% of them if he's getting open catch and shoot shots. So, it sucks that he shot bad, but I don't have complaints with those shots. If he's forcing all those threes, then that's a problem. But when he's just taking open catch and shoot threes, even if he's 0 for 10, he should keep taking open catch and shoot threes.
And Ant was off this game from 3. Thought he did some good things on some drives, including one where he had a really nice crossover. I think it was on Dwight Howard, got by him and finished with his left from the right-hand side under the basket, which was really nice. But as Al Farouk Amina for 3 points out, our percentages plummeted in the fourth quarter with our normal Lob City did not get any easy baskets, and the lead went from like 30 to 15, and we barely scored. So, yeah, it's not too bad overall when you take out the fourth quarter. But this is why, if you're a good defensive team, it doesn't matter. You still blow out a team and win easily when you are locking them down on the other end, and that's something you can always depend on. Sure, like a team could get a guy hot even against a good defense, or someone could hit crazy shots like Dame and CJ do against good defenses sometimes, but for the most part, you can count on your defense night in, night out, and if you don't have to have good games offensively, I think that says a lot.
Yeah, and we kind of held them in the paint. I know they had 38 in the paint to our 34, but they're a team that doesn't shoot well and just attacks the paint. They only go, 22 for 48 inside the arc. That's below 50%, and we didn't send them to the line a ton. We got as many free throw attempts as they did. I just figured if we can hold them inside the arc and do a good job defending them inside the arc and not send them to the free throw line and then rebound, we were going to win this game. The 3-point shooting, I did not expect them to shoot a higher percentage than us. They actually did, but
only hit 9 though.
Yeah, only hit 9. They're not a team that's going to shoot them a lot, and the more they shoot them, the better it would likely be for Portland, especially if it's Mr. Westbrook.
And honestly, like 4 or 5 of those threes were in the last few minutes. So
yeah. So they really struggled. Westbrook 1 for 3, Bazemore 0 for 1. Malik Monk was 3 for 7. Wayne Ellington 2 for 7. Carmelo Anthony in his return game, Eric, minus 20. 12 points, 4 for 14 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. What were your thoughts on Carmelo being on the other side of him, Eric?
Well, according to the people I heard, it's Westbrook's fault. So
it's always somebody else's fault, man. It's always somebody else's fault.
One of the ones he hit, too, was Norm played fantastic defense, and he just like did his normal turnaround shot and barely got it over him and
Yeah.
made it. But yeah, other than that, Melo was not very good in this game either. So yeah, it's hard for the Lakers when AD goes out after a few minutes and then they don't have LeBron, and then Melo and Westbrook are just chucking up bricks. It's tough for them to do anything.
Yeah, and that's the problem is you have a third and fourth guy who, like, you can't trust those guys on a night in, night out basis. You know what I mean? Like, and they don't. See, here's the thing. If CJ McCollum is missing shots, he's still going to space the floor, right? And I guess you could say the same about Carmelo Anthony, but 10 of his shots came inside the arc, only 4 beyond the three-point line. He's been shooting the three ball insanely well this year. The problem is he needs to just be a three-point shooter, and that's about it. He's not going to do much defensively, so that's the problem with the construction of this team is you got two guys who can have off nights, but if they have off nights, they don't stop shooting. Right? Like, Melo will get his shots. Westbrook will get his shots. That's why I didn't like the fit of this team. And you need guys that are able to do things when they're missing LeBron and AD, but it's just crazy, man, because they look like maybe the worst team in the league without LeBron and AD.
Well, to be fair to Melo, he has played off the ball really, really well this season, especially when LeBron's been in. He's been... I want to say is close to 50% on threes this year. And the numbers with and without LeBron are crazy. There's a crazy difference between the two. So maybe there is a little bit of truth to how they play, but tonight, for the most part, I felt like he was just doing his old style Melo, and he needs to get back to what we begged of them to use him in that manner, and that's just a catch and shoot 3-point shooter, because he can be fairly effective and efficient doing that, but not so much when he's doing other things as well.
Yeah, I mean, but when everybody is missing everything, I kind of can't blame them. And
yeah,
I mean, AD ended up playing 7 minutes tonight. We outscored the Lakers by 11 with AD on the court. So obviously he was he left with a stomach illness apparently, even though he was questionable with like a thumb issue.
Yeah, he hurt his thumb against the Thunder, but this is something that we might need to talk about for a second, because I guess he threw up 4 times before the game, and they decided to play him anyway. And I don't know, with everything going on right now, and
the fact that he had a thumb issue too on top of it. If
we get kind of even if it's not, COVID related, if we get some sort of flu that going through the team or something where a bunch of people get sick, I'm going to be kind of mad that they allowed AD to play in this one. So hopefully not. But yeah, it's kind of questionable why you would let anyone play that's showing any kind of sickness right now with everything that's going on in the world.
Yeah, especially when he threw up 4 times, man.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so that was obviously dumb on the Lakers' part. I mean, even if we weren't in a pandemic, the dude threw up 4 times. He's obviously very sick. I mean, yeah, that's just ridiculous.
The thing is, their reasoning didn't make sense. Like, Vogel said something about they were hoping like playing would make it better or something. Like, how does that work? I don't understand. I know sometimes, like, when you're not feeling well, it's like good to go out and get the sweat going or whatever, but like go do that in the hallway or something. Like, you don't have to play in the game to do that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was food poisoning. That's the only justification of him maybe playing, because obviously that's not a bug or anything, but I mean, I wouldn't say throwing up is usually food poisoning, Gabe. I mean, and that's the thing, is if they come out and say, yeah, he threw up 4 times before the game, we still played him, you should probably, if it's food poisoning, you should probably say, yeah, it was food poisoning, so we weren't, he wasn't risking other people's health. You should probably clarify that if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, in my opinion. All right, so what other takeaways from this game, maybe on the offensive end, for the team, did you have, Eric?
Dame obviously had I don't know if it was best game of the year, but it was nice to see him. He looked way, way, way more comfortable and confident shooting the ball in this one. He even pulled up from a step past half court, which is normally a bad shot, but in this game when we were up by that much, I kind of didn't mind it if he was feeling like his old self
Hmm.
right there. Because if he hits that, like, he might not ever lose confidence again. um, and it just hit back rim. It wasn't like it was off by a lot or anything. Like a couple of the bad threes he's taken this year haven't even been close. So um, I kind of like the confidence there. Not really the best shot selection, but I felt like um, there was a couple times in this game where we ran Dame off ball, and he just got a really nice, clean look at a three, and that really helped him go in, I think.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is like he wasn't missing by much yesterday against Indiana. He was barely missing short, barely missing long, and people were saying, "Oh, he's definitely injured. Look at what he shot tonight." But you gotta look at the content of his misses. You gotta look at how he's missing. He wasn't missing left and right. He wasn't sitting there missing everything short, which would say he's struggling to get the ball to the rim. He was missing barely short, barely long. Almost all his misses hit the inside of the rim. He did miss like very short, but it was on like a 32-footer. So you gotta look at how he's missing, and his slump could be as simple as just variance. You know, players go on slumps, and if this happened in the middle of the season, in previous years, people would just be like, "Oh, Dame's in a slump. He'll break out of it," and maybe they'd bring up the injury question. Then he breaks out, and nobody's talking about, "Oh, he's injured anymore." You know what I mean? But when it happens at the start of the season, it's magnified, and because you can go look up his stats, and his 3-point percentage is basically his percentage during the slump, and that's it, right? So people will talk about, oh, he's shooting 23% from three. He's shooting worse than Westbrook from three.
Westbrook's better than him because he's shooting.
You know what I mean? And I don't know. Obviously, he has the core issue, but he shot well through that in the past. So it was a situation where I think the main thing is maybe getting used to the ball. Because when you're shooting from the distances that Damian Lillard shoots from, a very minuscule difference will be the difference between making and missing shots. A very minuscule difference with the touch of the ball, the feel of the ball, the way it's coming off your fingertips. Just a slight adjustment will make a huge difference by the time the ball travels 30 feet. So that is my leading theory with Damian Lillard's shooting slump. Is it's a little bit of the ball, and some of it's just variance in him shooting bad, because I mean last game he was barely missing shots, and you know sometimes that happens. So nice to see him get going this game. I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to stop struggling or he's completely used to the ball or whatever, but it was never a situation where I'm sitting here worried. And some people were saying, oh, you got to sit Dame for a week or two, which if it's an injury, maybe, but you don't know if it's an injury. People were just saying it in general. And if he's struggling mentally to figure things out, you know, maybe it's a mental funk and maybe it's partly he needs to get used to the ball, then the worst thing to do him would be to sit him.
Yeah.
I never understood that. You got to let him work through his issues. And look, the next game, he pops off against the Los Angeles Lakers.
Let me address a few things in chat. Eugene David says, Tori, but why is everyone else doing fine? In case you missed it, this is the lowest 3-point percentage in the league since 2004, so 17 years, and the lowest field goal percentage since 1999, so over 22 years. And also, the scoring overall is way down across the league. Case in point, going into tonight, we had a defensive rating of 110. Last year's defensive rating was 116, right? If we had 110 defensive rating last year, that's good for 5th in the league. So we're playing. If we played this kind of defense last year, we would have a top 5 defense. I know you can't really like mix seasons like that, but it just shows you how much scoring is different this year so far. Now there's still a long ways to go in the season, so that'll probably come back to normal but I don't think it's too much, I don't think it's like stupid to say that the ball could be affecting that as well as the rules and several other factors. And Tori's not saying that that's the only thing causing Dame to miss. But yeah, it definitely could be a factor.
Yeah, and I mean, Luka was shooting 25% from three. Trae Young was shooting 25% from three. James Harden has struggled. Even Steph Curry, he's still shooting 37% from three, at least before today. I don't know if they played today. But 37% from three would be a career low outside of his injury season where he only played a handful of games, right? Otherwise, he's been a 40% plus three-point shooter. So even he, with how great he's played this season, people talking about how great the Warriors are so far this year, only lost one game, at least before tonight. I haven't seen the scoreboard. But he's still shooting what would be basically a career low so far this season. So the ball is different, and that's going to affect things. And Paul George talked about how it felt different, and he's shooting great, but that's going to make a difference for other players. Some players are going to struggle with that until they get used to it. So overall...
Embiid said it was messing with him as well.
Yeah, apparently it's just harder. It's like less plushy, less cushy, like I don't know, like a little bit less, I don't know, squishiness.
I don't think that makes sense to me because the Wilson Evolution ball is softer than most balls that I play with. So
yeah, I mean,
don't clip that.
Okay, Eric.
Right.
Okay, Eric. Let's stop talking about balls. What other takeaways did you have from this game?
Nurk was just absolutely dominant tonight. Just one of his better games that I've seen him play. Just great defensively, great offensively. When he got the ball, he was taking his time. He wasn't messing around. I think I have to double check this real quick. He had 2 turnovers, but one of those he stole the ball back on the next pass, and we got an open shot out of it. So, so I just thought Nurk was fantastic in this game, and shows. I felt like we made an effort to play through him a little more. I'd still like it to be more than we saw in this game. I feel like we can go to him like 70, 80% of the time, and we'd be fine. I just want to give Nurk his props because I felt like he just dominated this game.
Your mom wants to know what's in your cup.
It's water.
I don't know if chat's gonna believe you on that one.
No,
it's a Saturday night.
I had a drink in my cup. What game was that? After the Cleveland game, because I was kind of upset that we lost 3 in a row. But back to water.
Yeah, back to. I need to drink more water, and luckily I don't need a drink after this game. Shout out Ads, $5 dono. If the basketball gods keep blessing us with wins at home, we could win at least 37 games this season.
5-1 at home.
Yeah, I mean, if we can play like how we're playing at home on the road, we're fine. It's just nice to be back to 500, because sitting at 3-5 is like, that record is gross. You know what I mean? This isn't going to be hard-hitting analysis or anything. Sitting at 3-5 is just a gross record. Right? I don't like that record. So being able to win this back-to-back at home and go back to 5-5 is nice. Right? So now you got a game against the Clippers on the road. They obviously crushed us the first time we played them on the road, and then we blew them out at home. So, I mean, we'll preview that game later on, but this is a team that I like how they're playing at home. I like the way they're playing. They just have to carry it over onto the road.
Well, we've talked a lot ever since your schedule breakdown video about how just you want to hover around 500, and that's okay. I mean, obviously we want them to be above 500.
Yeah.
But going 500 is perfectly acceptable over the first 20 games. If you factor in if our growth through that time is good, that's why we got a little frustrated on that 3-game road trip, because they weren't seemingly doing the stuff they needed to show improvements later on, even though we might have still lost some of those games. It could have been in a more of a development phase than just trying to get people going and playing iso ball and all that kind of stuff. So the cool thing now is we're back to 500 and we have a 4-game road trip. You'd think we should win the Houston game, hopefully. And then we have 3 games that are all going to be tough against the Clippers, Nuggets, and Suns. not in that order necessarily, but so you just want to get at least one of those 3 games and beat Houston, and you're sitting at 7-7 with having played, I think, what would it be? 8 road games and only 6 home games. So um, I think that would be a good benchmark to at least go 2-2 on this road trip.
Yeah. Yeah. Agree with that. I mean, 500 ball on the road, man, doesn't seem like much, but
Right.
it's almost like we're embracing the Terry Stotts ideology from last year where, it's okay if you go 500 on the road, but it was like they were playing 4 bad teams, right? If we were playing the Thunder twice, the Rockets, and like the Detroit Pistons, I wouldn't be sitting here like, let's just go 500 on the road.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I don't want their mentality to be, oh, let's just get 2 out of 4.
Yeah.
I hope I don't want to. Oh, that's something I want to mention in a minute too. Remind me. But they should want to win all 4 games, and I'm hoping they do. Like I'd be ecstatic if we won all 4 of those games because that would be an extremely good road trip. But yeah, I think they're fine even if they do drop a couple, as long as they're continuing to try and improve on both ends of the court instead of just resorting back to their iso ball stuff.
It's just a mentality challenge for this team. They've had the right mentality at home in terms of how they need to play. They've had the right level of focus, right level of intensity. So it just comes down to how do you bring that on the road? And obviously it's a different, when you're on the road, Dame talked about it in an interview during the game broadcast. It's a different, you don't have the energy from the home crowd, and the other team does. You might have people that you're bringing into the games that in said city, and you're not sleeping in your own bed, all that sort of thing. Those aren't excuses. There's just a difference, and they have to figure out how to find the mentality they've shown at home in that situation. So if they can find that sort of consistency, I'm very confident in this team. That's why when everybody was panicking, I was frustrated with our losses before these 2 wins. Definitely, you don't want to lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers. You don't want to lose to a shorthanded Philadelphia 76ers team. That Sixers loss was a very bad loss. But it showcases the difference between this team when they're playing their best and this team when they're playing bad. And this team is not who they are when they're playing bad, right? Everybody is just, so-and-so is trash, this team is trash, this shows that they need to trade so-and-so, and stuff like that off those losses. But we've seen what this team is capable of at home. When they're at home, they look like a dominant team. They look like a contender. So I'm just sitting here like, please figure it out. Figure out how to do that on the road. And if they figure out how to do it consistently, they are going to do a lot of damage and probably be a top 4 seed. And they've had a hard schedule. They're sitting at 500. They've only played 1 team below 500. And that's the Indiana Pacers. Every other team, Memphis, the Lakers, Phoenix, the Kings are at 500. The Clippers are at 500. It's not like they've played OKC twice like the Lakers have. Now the Lakers lost both those games. Westbrook was on his OKC MVP form for those games, even though he was not on OKC. So it's a situation where it's a hard schedule early, man, and you're 10 games in, sitting at 500. It could be a lot worse, and I like that this team has shown some good things. It's just finding that sort of consistency.
Yeah, so I feel like once they get a win on the road, then everything will be fine. It's kind of like after they beat the Suns, it was like you lose all 4 preseason games, and then you lose opening night, and then they beat the Suns, and then it's everyone celebrating and happy and stuff like that. I think that'll open up the floodgates on the road too. But this is why we've been begging to play a certain way for a long time, and we haven't seen it much in the road games this year, and it's very frustrating because we haven't played with any kind of tempo or pace like we do at home, and our defensive effort has been a little lethargic at times, and we resort back to Dame and CJ trying to save us and shooting bad shots and stuff, and it can't play that way. And we've shown now, I mean, I don't know how much clearer it can be, when we play a faster pace and we push the ball up in the court, we're impossible to stop on offense. And it's frustrating to me when we go through long periods of stretches where we don't get good shots and we continually see them walk the ball up the court and get stuck in a half court offense and don't get a good shot and have no movement and stuff like that. So the thing is, we need to see that on the road. And Phillips has talked about the last couple of games about needing to come out and punch the other team before they punch us. And I feel like we've done a great job of that in the last 2 games, but you have to have that mentality on the road and kind of take away the energy of the building, take away the crowd. And you can do that by running and getting an early lead and making some nice passes and playing some good defense. And those are all things that this team is capable of. And I hate when we play the way that we know doesn't work, and then we see all these people like, see, they're incapable of having a good defense, even though we're like dying on every screen. And, oh, they're incapable of, this roster will never amount to anything because they went back to iso ball. Like, that doesn't make sense to me, because you see, I mean, we're 5-5. There's been times in the 5 wins where we've looked like one of the best teams in the NBA. And there's times in the 5 losses where we look like at best a play-in team. So like there's not that drastic of a difference between our ceiling and our floor. And like you stressed all season, I think the closer we can get to some sort of consistency, middle ground, the better off we'll be, as long as we don't have those really low floor games.
Yeah, just be more competitive on the road. That's all I ask for. Let's hop into the player slides. We're starting off with Damian 16-14 Lillard. I do not get that reference, Eric. Do you get that reference?
I think it was maybe supposed to be 6 of 14.
6 of 14, yeah.
Because that's what his 3-point percentage was? I don't know.
Chris has just tested us, man. I don't know what 16-14 means, but I think it's 6 for 14. Shout out Chris. Do you... Chat expects these now, so I
16
expect these now.
Is 16 and 14 his record against Russ? Okay,
there you go. Shout out to whoever in chat. I like that, man. A little bit of trivia for you guys. What does 16-14 mean in regards to Dame? So he has 25 points tonight, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, 9 for 19 from the field, 6 for 14 from 3, which means he was 3 for 5 inside the arc. Only gets 2 free throws. Can we get this man some free throws, please? Can we respect Damian Lillard, the superstar, and get him to the line, man? The refs have been hating on Dame all season long. He gets chucked when he drives, and I understand letting a little bit more go, but like it seems like people are just pushing the limit in terms of Dame getting a step on them because Dame is quicker than the defenders in front of him, and they just put a hand on him and just shove him and just push him away from his driving lane.
Well, there was one play tonight where he got hit on the head when he was shooting a 3, and just a horribly missed call by the refs. But other than that, I didn't feel like he generated too many fouls. Like other than that one play, I don't think there was any other ones that stand out as him should have been going to the line.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any anecdotal evidence. It's just game in, game out. I mean, he's averaging like 3 free throws a game, and I've seen it in previous games where, you know, if it's Ricky Rubio or TJ McConnell, they're getting calls, but since it's Damian Lillard, it's almost like he's not. It's almost like they've tried to overcorrect on the guys who actually used to get calls. So we've seen it with James Harden too. It's just call it even. That's all I ask for, and I feel like things haven't been called even. So I mean, let's not focus on the free throws though. 6 for 14 from 3. You love to see it.
Yep, nice to see him hit some. And you could see there was one he made. It was in the second half, so you might have seen it. But he was like, he shot it, and he was like down in a crouch stance, like trying to will the ball into the hoop, and it went in, and he was like, you could see the relief on his face. Like, thank you for going in.
Well, let me ask you something about his shooting. It seemed like he was maybe getting a little bit more arc on a couple of the threes that I saw. Did you notice that, or am I seeing things?
I think he's just. I mean, I've noticed the last few games him hesitating before shooting a little more than he normally would. Usually he comes off a screen or he catches the ball and he knows he's shooting it if he's open. Um, but yeah, I mean, it does look like he is shooting them. Like his form looks a little better, and that would result in a little more arc. But it's kind of hard to tell on TV. Like you were there in person, I guess, once this season, so you might have noticed something a little bit different. But
Yeah, I was just
it's
talking
kind of
about
hard
this
to
game.
tell about the arc of his shot just from like watching on TV all the time.
Yeah, I mean, because that could be the adjustment if you're missing, barely short, barely long, is just to give the ball a wider angle to the basket. If you shoot the ball straight at the basket, it's just going to hit front rim. It has no way of getting into the basket. If you drop it straight down, it's seeing,
Yeah.
a wider rim, basically. So you don't want to try and shoot with too much arc because then you're not going to have accuracy. But when you're barely missing short, barely missing long, that is sometimes the adjustment that shooters will make. And that's something that, Anthony Simons, his first couple seasons, I thought shot the ball pretty flat. And I felt like he needed to increase his arc, and I think he did that. I'm not saying I can shoot better than an NBA player, that I should be their shooting coach or whatever, like half of Blazers Twitter takes this as, it's just sometimes, increasing a little bit of arc can do good for you. So that's the thing, is maybe it got to the point where Dame's like, okay, I need to look at my shot and see how I'm missing, and maybe increase his arc. I don't know. It's hard to say because that's the thing. If you tweak it, it's going to be minuscule. Every tweak for great shooters in the NBA aren't going to be much. It's going to be little tiny things. So that might have been something he tried to do. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just seeing things. That's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mentioned this earlier too. I felt like a couple times out of timeouts, we designed a perfect play to get him an open three. And I felt like he knew he was going to be open and catch it and shoot it. And just really good idea to get him going, to play him a little more off ball. And actually, there was now this is 2 straight games where Robert Covington has gotten the ball on kind of like the elbow 3 area and had Dame wide open in the corner and decided to shoot instead of pass to Dame, who was wide open. And both times he's made it, thankfully. But that's kind of crazy that we have Rocco pulling up and not kicking to Dame in those situations. But yeah, we'll get to Rocco in a minute. But I just thought they did a good job of mixing. It wasn't just, I mean, we did run some pick and roll with Dame, but it wasn't like our normal game plan where it's just like so pick and roll heavy. And I thought that was a really good adjustment.
Yep, I agree with that. Let's move on and talk about Yusuf Nurkic. Do you get this reference, Eric?
I think it's just Nurk fever. I think
is that the new thing? Is Nurk flu? Alrighty, 15 points, 17 rebounds, 3 steals for Nurkic. He's near the top in terms of centers with steals. He has to be. He's getting 2 or 3 a game, it seems like. Do you know what he was averaging in terms of steals heading into this one? I can look that up.
I can find that out really quick because I have it. I bet you won't.
Nurkic was
He's
averaging
1.4.
1.4 steals per game. So that's going to go up. So I don't know. Maybe it's not near the top. I don't know what that looks like, but that would be a
Gary
career
Trent's
high.
averaging like 3.
Yeah, I'm talking about in terms of centers. He was leading in deflections earlier this season. So, and it's not like he's sitting here playing 36 minutes a game. He's getting about 25. So he's been getting a lot of deflections, getting a lot of steals, and starting a lot of breaks. That's the thing. If we want to run more, it helps when you're able to turn the other team over and get run out opportunities off their turnovers. And with Nurkic being able to, create some chaos, create some havoc, and turn other teams over and then kick to a guard and trail plays. I like the transition opportunities that gives the team. He's been a phenomenal rebounder all year long. 17 rebounds tonight in 22 minutes is absurd. 6 for 6 from the field. Eric, he did not miss a shot from the field.
Don't care, he's still trash. Can't finish.
Yeah, there will probably be a couple people in chat today or on Twitter saying, yeah, Nurkic sucked at finishing tonight, because that's just how it goes no matter what he does. It seems like that's, people will just say whatever about him. But, 15 points on 6 shots and 17 boards, and that's in 22 minutes. When he was in, he dominated tonight. Absolutely dominated.
And when he shot the ball, he was catching the ball like I've asked for, like deep positioning near the hoop. A lot of times he just had to easily just turn around and take his time and lay it in over a smaller defender. I just felt like we got him the ball in much better positions to finish this game. And that's an adjustment that Phillips tried to talk about before the season started, and hopefully they can learn where he finishes well, like in this game, and exploit that more. But I still want to run more of the offense so he can get more assists. I feel like we can do that. And he did have a play where Norm took like a 12-foot jump shot, but Nurk was like wide open under the hoop, and I think he ended up tipping the rebound and someone else grabbed it, and we ended up getting a 3 out of it, I think. But yeah, it's like some of those guys, as Nurk plays more around the basket, could be a deadly weapon for just dump off passes when guys like Norman, CJ, and Dame get into the key and draw multiple defenders.
Yep, agreed. Let's move on and talk about Norman. Approximately 2x10 Powell. I assume you don't get this one either. This is gonna become a trivia.
I think he was going for the the 5x5. Although it doesn't make sense 2x10. I think it's just steal. I think it was just a miss thing because he almost had all 2s in his stats, but I don't get where that 10 comes from. But the 2x2 game almost makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. He had a single double tonight with 13 points, 2 boards, 2 assists. Wouldn't it be a 2x4? And that's kind of a pun,
2x2, I think.
Because you get hit with the 2x4, and Norman Powell drives extremely aggressive. There's some sort of connection there with that pun. I don't know. I don't make puns for a reason. Norm tonight, 4 for 11, 1 for 4 from 3. He's been carrying the offense, so he has a little bit of a down night. But in a night where Dame steps up and our defense dominates, we didn't need him to carry the offense. So he's been playing really good basketball. I like how aggressive he's been attacking the rim. He's our best perimeter player in terms of getting to the free throw line, and he has 6 more free throws today. Would like for him to make at least 5 of them. 4 for 6 is not necessarily good from the free throw line.
I think it was 6 of 6 last game,
so that's 10 to 12. You'll take that for sure. That's what 83%, something repeating. So Norman Powell, good game tonight. What'd you think of him?
Yeah, I agree with Gray. He was investigating in chat. He says Powell played way better than his stats indicate tonight. I felt like at the beginning of the game we were playing through Norm a lot, and he was getting good open shots for Dame and CJ, and not necessarily direct passes, but hockey assists, and just he's making the right reads between when he's open shooting. He missed a couple in the second half, open corner threes, but for the most part, he's back to being the super efficient Norm that he was in Toronto, and I really like the way he's playing. He attacks the rim. We don't have a lot of guys doing that right now, so it's good when he's aggressive. And much like I said about Nurk, I would like to play through Norm and Nork or Nurm more, and generate our offense through those guys and see if we can unlock something there where we don't have to really use pick and roll or ISO very much, because those guys, when they're engaged, I feel like it takes this team to a whole new level.
Nork. It's Nork, Eric. It's
well,
Nork.
You like Nork, but I kind of like Nurm, and some people in chat agreed with me. So
all right, well, here we go. Here we
That's
go.
why I said both. Oh, okay,
Here's a chat poll. No, wait, you said... Wait,
Nerm?
what was the...
It's Nerm or Nork?
Nork is so much better. Nerm or Nork? Caleb Pendergraph, you're dead to me.
Normich?
Nork sounds cooler. Like an orc.
Or it could sound like a word that a certain Blazer Twitter person uses way too much.
No, like an orc compared to a worm, man. That's what I think when these two things come up. Right now you got Nork at 69%, Eric.
Yeah,
let's go.
Let's kill it. All right.
Let's go.
This is official.
Gonna be...
Yeah. No, you can't change it once this happens. This vote is for the future.
Yeah. We're gonna have to come up with other combination names. I mean, I'll give this poll like another minute or so. We got 60 votes on it. We got 250 people in here, so go vote in that poll. Make your voice heard. Nerm is making a little bit of a comeback. Let's see where this goes. Anyway, anything else you want to say on Norman Powell?
No, just like I said before. Besides, missing a few shots, I really like the way he's playing. And man, get this guy out in transition. I really like his aggressiveness, and he gets to the rim. He draws fouls when not many people on this team are. Keep going to it.
Yes, sir. Keep going to it. All right, we got. Robert Cutter Covington. Somebody asked for this on Twitter, and Krish obliged. Robert Cutter Covington. I think they asked for it yesterday because Robert Covington had a really good cut and dunk yesterday.
Yeah.
Did he? I don't know if he cut today, but Krish did.
He did have one cut, and then he caught the ball. He was kind of under the hoop and tried to lay it in over a bigger guy and threw it up over the backboard. Yeah, that wasn't good, but
yeah. But I mean, 2 assists, 12 points, 4 for 7 from 3. He's awoken offensively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a perfect matchup for him because when AD was in there, he's got the tough matchup with AD, so he's not going to lose focus there. And then once AD went out of the game, I mean, a couple times he was guarding Melo, but other than that, he didn't really have to worry about falling asleep off the ball. It didn't really matter. So I didn't really notice him too much on the defensive end. Had his hands on some deflections and got a couple steals, like it says. So yeah, just night and day difference in Robert the last 2 games, in my opinion.
Shout out to Chris S. with a $5 donation. Norks means
TITS.
I'm not gonna say it on her. Norks mean TITS in the UK.
We could say boobies, right?
Oh my God, Eric! Bro, are you sure you're drinking water? Are you sure that's water, Eric? I know you can't tell the difference. Are you sure that's water?
Yes. If you want, I'll release the Kraken.
Release the Kraken. What? This dude's on. This dude got his water spiked.
For some reason, I have some Kraken rum up there.
Anyway, apparently Nork means boobies in the UK, so this poll is as funny as Westbrook airballs to me right now. So shout out to Chris S. Still have about 135 people who have not voted in the poll, so if that sways your vote and you do not want Norm plus Nurk to be called Nork, then make your voice heard and vote for Nerm. Alrighty. Thank you for the donation, Chris. Oh, this is like year 1 Blazers Uprise live stream right now.
I'm not even in my garage.
Dude, yeah, you used to do shows in your garage, man. What happened?
I should move over there.
Yeah, just for the next stream,
cold
man.
out there.
Somehow you used to make it work, so I don't know what you did, but you made it work in the past.
It was during the bubble, like in the middle of summer, so it wasn't.
All right, well, next summer,
I'll
remind you to get in the garage. We need Garage Eric back. Just like make a throne of boxes, dude. Make a throne of boxes. That'd be pretty sick. Anthony, Chris, where's the nickname? What is this? Anthony Simons. That's boring. And he kind of had a boring game by his standards. Some good slashes and drives, but he was 0 for 6 from the 3-point line. Krish, 2 does not equal 6. But you should have called him Anfredy Typo Sibens. I'm just teasing. 1 typo a game, and honestly, if I was doing these, I'd have at least 1 typo a game. So it is what it is, man. 10 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. You like the 4 assists, so what'd you think of him?
Yeah, I mean, he just missed some threes. I thought he forced a couple, but other than that, really liked his drives in this game. He had that one really nice finish that I talked about earlier, and I liked the way he was passing. He had a really nice pass to Dame for an open 3, and yeah, I like the way he's playing even when he's not shooting. Because in years past, you know, if he would have gone 0 for 6 from 3, and I mean, there's not much else he was contributing, so that would have killed us. But I feel like both on the defensive end, he's been average, which is really good if we have average defenders out of our guards. And on the offensive end, I mean, I'm fine with him missing a few shots. I just hope it doesn't hurt his percentages too much, because I really like to see those close to 50, 40, 100.
Yeah, agreed. Great analysis, Eric. Shout out to Maurice Fenton for the 2 insert currency. I paused so you could say the currency.
Euros.
Yeah. We need to do it like, I'll pause, all right? If it's not something that I know Canadian dollars, I know Australian dollars, and I know American dollars, right? Outside of that, I don't know. I still don't know currencies. So
yeah, well, it's just
from now on, I'm going to say shout out to Maurice Fenton with the 2.
Well,
and then you say euros.
Let me just say it looks like an E, right? So just say that's how you know.
All right, shout out to Maurice Fenton with the. I'm just trying to have you participate in reading it off, but you know, I just thought this would be a cool I'll bounce it to you and you can say it and then I can keep going. I thought that would be fun, like yin and yang, you know, like Nurm and Nork. Shout out to Maurice Fenton for the €2 dono. He says, was Neil Olshey at the game tonight? Was he at the game tonight?
I don't believe so. He was not sitting next to Jody. Chris McGowan was, and some other people, but yeah, I did not see Neil. So yeah, I would have been very surprised if he was at the game.
Should have turned his chair upside down, honestly. But yeah, that'd be awkward if he was at the game. I'm sure you might hear it from some fans, because obviously the dude isn't in the best graces with even us right now, considering the report that came on. As far as that goes, though, I'm not going to talk about it until we get a resolution to it. I talked about it a little bit in a space last night. Eric talked about it a little bit on stream. We're just going to wait and see. There should be a resolution soon. We might have to do a Olshey is fired stream. You know, we had our Stotts is fired stream. We might have to do our Olshey is fired stream, but we'll try and go live right in when that happens, if that happens, and we'll have a live stream right here on the main channel for that. Our second so-and-so is fired stream in the past year. So maybe everybody gets their wish and everybody wins and we can stop arguing on Twitter. That'd be phenomenal. Shout out Greg Hughes Investigates with a $5 dono. He says, when we have a game where everyone is shooting well, we will win by 40. Bosnian Beast is coming out of his cave. And I agree, man. Even though we weren't shooting the best, we were still up 34 in this game. So it's just a dominant home cooking. We look like a dominant home team. It's just, we look like we have a higher ceiling than we did last year, right? We're sitting at 500. People say, oh, same team. To me, we look like we have a higher ceiling. Our good games are better than our good games last year. So all we've talked about is we need to raise our ceiling to have a chance in the playoffs, because if you don't have a high enough ceiling in the playoffs, you're not going to be good enough to win series against good teams. If you have a higher ceiling and find a way to put it together night in, night out, you have a chance at competing and beating teams in the playoffs. So I like that we've shown a higher ceiling. Just got to raise that floor up, especially on the road. Appreciate Greg Hughes with a $5 dono.
Agreed. And Chris S. says Jason Quick wrote an excellent article about it on The Athletic, if you want to check that out too, and that's referring to the Olshey situation.
Yeah, I have not read it yet. I will read it after the stream. Let's move on and talk about Nasir Still. MIP Little, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks in 15 minutes. That's a good scoring clip for playing 15 minutes. He's 3 for 7 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3. What'd you think of Nasir, still MIP Little?
I thought he had some good things in this game. It wasn't a lot of mistakes. I mean, he had a couple, but nothing too glaring. But yeah, overall, I liked what he did. He's shooting the 3 with confidence. I have faith in him shooting it now, especially from the corners. And then he had one nice one where he didn't have the shot and he drove baseline and got a dunk out of it. So you like to see that, especially going to the rim and throwing it down instead of trying to, throw up a flip shot. And I like his energy, and he's definitely should be part of the rotation right now.
Yep. By the way, do not insult our mods, or that will be a perma ban. All right. Let me just say that right now. Like, what the? Okay, you guys aren't seeing some of these messages because we're hiding them. What in the world just happened in chat, Eric? Chat just went up in an inferno with Beavis, with David, with Carmelo Perez. We don't need more Melo stands. I got to talk about Melo stands on the radio today. That was funny. But what's going on?
Jackson kind of, I don't know, he said something too, so he's not completely out of the clear. But David Armani said
Jackson didn't insult him, so
he wants Ainge and then bring him Ben Simmons, and then Jackson jokingly said ban him. But yeah,
that's not personal insult. Like, I don't know, like that's our rule here, and they're very loose, obviously. But like a basic rule for chat is just don't insult people personally, especially our mods.
And Beavis needs to calm down. I think he's wasted, speaking of drunk people.
Yeah,
he said he got in a fight at a bar or something tonight, and yeah.
Beavis has told me that we have saved him from going to jail because there's a lot of times where he thinks that he would probably get drunk and get in a bar fight, and instead he's like, you know what? I want to go home and watch some Blazers Uprise. So Beavis, we're trying. You got to work with us. Too, though, we're trying to keep you out of prison, man. Don't be getting into bar fights. We do not advocate for that. As wasted as Eric is, don't get that drunk. It's not good. It's not good.
Gabe, come on, man. Gabe Lauderdale will never let that go.
I mean, well, hosts play by their own rules. That's all I'm gonna say. I was not there, so it didn't happen. All right,
yeah.
That's how it goes.
He just kept saying the same thing over and over again, and it got annoying. And then, yeah. So then the other, we're cool with the Gabe from the Valley podcast. And I mentioned that he was the smart Gabe or whatever, so that made that Gabe, the other Gabe, felt dumb. So yeah, sorry, sorry.
That's the standard you set for. Now I know why everybody's going off, because you set the standard with the violence, man. Oh my, that's funny. I
was okay. Yeah, I wanted to mention this earlier, but yeah. So, anyways, I got mad at the Dame haters last night, and told everyone that if you're not loyal to Dame, like, you don't deserve to be a Blazer fan and all that stuff. So, yeah, because I truly feel that way. I mean, it's kind of crappy if you consider yourself a fan and have rooted for Dame, and he's been loyal to the Blazers, to then turn on him when he's struggling. I just don't agree with that.
People just need to chill. Just relax. Like, why were they hating on him after a win? Just chill. Give him some time. It's like people won't give him 9 games despite what he's done for 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. That stuff's ridiculous. I probably would have gotten mad at it, too, if I was streaming. But, yeah, so just chill on Dame. Chill on the bar fights. Chill on insulting our mods. And let's move on and talk about CJ McCollum. 7 points. So, yeah, it's, wow, man. 3 for 15. But 24 minutes, didn't have to play much. 5 assists, 0 turnovers. So, from a passing, playmaking for others standpoint, that's pretty good. Obviously, just didn't have a shot tonight, but I thought he had a lot of good shots. It wasn't a situation where he was just forcing his own shot constantly and ruining our offense for it. Everything he did, seemingly, from what I saw, which obviously I missed parts of this game, so I might be wrong in general, but from what I saw, he was taking shots in the flow of the offense and taking quality shots. And when you got a great shooter missing shots, but their quality looks, you can live with it.
Yeah, so this was my biggest criticism of Phillips tonight. I felt like there was a point in the first quarter he took Nurk out, and I'd like to see Nurk get a few more minutes there when he's not in foul trouble. He's not, being disappearing Nurk. He's actually producing and having a great game. Like, just leave him in a little longer than you would and let him play with Nance a little bit like we've been begging for. And then there was a time, so he's having CJ come out around this somewhere between like 5 and 6 minutes usually. And then he comes back in towards the end of the quarter. Tonight, it was about 2 minutes left in the quarter. So he's only out about 3 or 4 minutes and then comes back in. And then when Dame subs back in, he subs in for Ant instead of CJ. And then CJ proceeded to brick a bunch of shots. And Ant at that point had made those 2 drives. I don't know. He might have attempted 1 3. But I felt like that kind of took Ant out of his rhythm, and sometimes I would like to see CJ be the one subbing out if he's not shooting well and leave Ant in there, and that's a way to kind of limit CJ's minutes. It did end up hurting us because we didn't have to put CJ back in the second half, so he probably would have played like 36, 37 minutes in this game in a normal game, but I don't think he should be playing that much in the first half. I think we should try to let some of our other players, especially when CJ's not having a good game. So, but yeah, it's hard to argue with plus 27, like Roman says in chat. It's pretty. It's nice that we can have our best players struggle shooting the ball and still be a decent team at times.
Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't hear it, but I know the analysis was good. Let's end this poll. Nork wins. Awesome. I'm sure more people voted for it because of its meaning. But Nork wins. There you go. It's official. It's in the books. The proof is there. 59% of the vote for Nork. Anyway, let's move on and talk about Cody Zeller, 6 points, 3 rebounds. Finally had a good plus minus. He's had terrible plus minuses the past couple of games. Got to the line 4 times, made all 4 of them. That's good. 1 for 1 from the field. That's good. Only 11 minutes. His minutes have dwindled so far this season. You're seeing some Larry Nance at small ball 5 now more often, and that takes away minutes from Cody Zeller. So what were your thoughts on Cody tonight, Eric?
Overall, pretty good game in the minutes he played. It's nice to have a dependable backup center, but it's also nice when we don't really need him that much either. And I'm fine with not playing him a lot if we don't have to. He's kind of the one person that shouldn't be making these kind of mistakes on defense, but he's still out of position or sticking too long on the screens. So he definitely needs to clean that up. But other than that, I thought it was a solid game for him.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about him only playing 11 minutes because I think he's been solid. I don't know why the team struggles with him in the game. I don't think they're necessarily due to Cody Zeller. That is something that I need to watch more for when he's in the game. It's seemingly... It's weird because he and Nance play a lot together, but Nance will have, a neutral plus minus. Cody Zeller will be a negative 10. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. I don't know. I'm going to have to try to figure out why that's the case.
What happened in this game is, like I said, Nurk I thought got taken out at the wrong time, and then Zeller comes in, and um, I think part initially the Lakers scored a few times, and like I said, I was getting kind of frustrated, and then they kind of settled down and were fine after that. But just initially, it kind of made me mad. But I think he's being limited in his minutes because he's not doing the things that he's being asked. He's not playing the same way that Nurk is on defense. Not that he's the same defender or anything, but he's not positionally and scheme-wise in the right spots like Nurk has been. And until he gets that back on track, and he's a smart player, so he should be able to fix that. But until he does that, I think Phillips won't have a problem going to Nance in those situations over him if he continues to make mistakes.
Yeah, that makes sense. He sticks too long with ball handlers when he shows at times, and I did notice that last week, especially against Charlotte. So defensively, I mean, Nurkic is better than him at this point, but I also agree he's been a guy who's been considered, a good hedge defender in aggressive pick and roll schemes, a guy that can trap. So he shouldn't struggle with it all season. It's not like he's incapable. It's not like he's Enes Kanter. Even though Enes Kanter, I think, should have been allowed to trap and hedge and look good when he was allowed to do it. I just have confidence in Cody Zeller figuring things out defensively. And I don't know. That's the thing, is we have a lot of good players on this team, so it might not result in him getting more minutes anyways, because Larry Nance Jr. looks good as a backup 5-man right now. He plays 17 minutes tonight. Is 1 for 4, 0 for 1 from 3, 2 for 3 from the free throw line. 4 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Did not have a good game by his standards. I wouldn't say it was bad per se. It was just kind of a ho-hum Larry Nance Jr. quiet game.
Yeah, I thought he was active tonight, still being passive. But yeah, I didn't really see anything from him that really frustrated me tonight. Thought he was okay when he was out there.
Yep. And that's it for the players. Let's jump into Chauncey Phillips' interview. And apparently or go ahead, say whatever you want to while I set it up.
This is what I was going to say earlier when I said to remind me before we get, because it has to do with coaching. So I want to make sure I emphasize this before Chauncey Phillips talks, because in case he mentions this as well. I absolutely love what Roy Rogers said at halftime of this game. Brooke asked him, so you got to be feeling pretty good about holding the Lakers to 36 points in the first half. And he said, it's never good enough. We always can do better. And that's the attitude I love to hear, instead of oh, yeah, we're doing great, where our rotations are great, and holding a team like the Lakers to 36 points is really good, That's the kind of attitude you have to have. And the great players, the great coaches, it's not what you've done. It's not that, our offense or our defense has been, the top 5 for 3 years or whatever. It's like, no, it can always get better. And I just loved hearing him say that, and that makes me have a lot more confidence than I already did in the coaching stuff.
Yeah, because this is a team that got complacent when they'd build double-digit leads in the past. And it'd be like, okay, we're playing well. They take their foot off the gas and be satisfied with the way they were playing. Then all of a sudden, since they're satisfied, they're not playing as hard as the other team, who's now desperate because they're behind. So it's a situation where you can't sit there and be satisfied with results for a half, for a game, for a week. You know what I mean? We had a couple good home games and then go on an East Coast road trip and lose 3 games. So we could be on a 20-game winning streak, and we have to approach it like it's the first game of the season or maybe the first game of the playoffs. And you got to approach each game with the same fire and intensity. You can't get complacent or satisfied with the results you're having, and that's something that I've said in the past, is the Blazers would win games against bad teams, and I'd be critical of some of the things that they did, their style of play, some of their mistakes, and people would say, they just won, why are you being critical? Well, because you can't, there were games where the Blazers would win just off of talent. When playoffs roll around, you have to be able to play a sustainable style of basketball. You have to be able to play a good style of ball, and you can't just win off talent in the playoffs. You have to play the right way. And the Blazers are never going to be a team that's going to win an NBA Finals only because they're talent and can just get away with playing however they want to. They have to play the right style of basketball. So I would be critical of that in the past, Eric, and you would be too, and we'd get some heat for it. So I love having a coaching staff that's sitting here like, yeah, we held them to 36 points. It's not good enough. It can be better. Because that's the thing is every half you're going to make mistakes. Try and clean them up. Keep the players on the team focused on, okay, I made a mistake in this situation. Let's try not to do that again. And then let's try and continue, we did this well. Let's try and continue that. And let's try and fix some of the mistakes we had. You can't just sit there like, yeah, we had a good defensive first half. Because then you're going to get smacked in the face and they're going to go on a run. So I like that attitude as well.
Yep.
So let's listen to the interview. By the way, ads might play on this because I am not currently logged in. I forgot the password to my non-ad account since I had to sign up for new accounts with this, so an ad might play. We will see. But just wanted to preface this interview with that.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I thought he was really good. It was good to see.
Also, the volume is turned up all the way, so there's nothing I can do about this being quiet, and it's very quiet. So let me put it back to 6 seconds and go.
I thought he was good. I thought he was really good. It was good to see. Obviously, some of his normal shots go in. Thought Nurk did a really good job of screening for him, getting him open. And CJ and everybody else, like the passes to him was on time and on target, and it was just good to see. I mean, when his shots are going, they're so loud, right? Like he just gives so many people so much ammo, when he's making shots, and I thought it was very helpful for us in particular early.
Chauncey, is that what you're talking about with Nurk being patient when he gets the ball around the basket?
So you've seen it, right? Like sometimes he gets a little impatient and he gets it and he's trying to hurry up and, get something to the basket. I thought he did a terrific job tonight of catching, gathering, using his strength, and then once he hits you with that shoulder, I mean, he's going to create some space and then you can just lay it. So it was good to see him slow it down tonight as well.
You guys lost a couple games recently where the other team's missing some key players, and you said that sometimes that can get trapped because you might let your guard down.
Yeah.
Like that was an issue at all tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we came out, we talked as a staff about how important it would be early. We were obviously playing on a back-to-back. They were fresh, kind of sitting, waiting. And usually those
Sorry? You're muted.
I am muted. Dang it. Okay, so obviously the audio is just off in general. This is so quiet. Can you guys hear it? Chat?
I can hear it. It's hard to hear, but I can understand it.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I was muted because I didn't want you guys to hear my mouse or anything. Eric, you should probably mute as well because I just hear your mouse. With how quiet this is, it's rough. So, all right, I'll keep playing this. And Eric, make sure you mute. I'll mute as well so that you guys don't have any background noise and we can hopefully hear this interview. It's only 3 more minutes, so.
Talked as a staff about how important it would be early. We were obviously playing on a back-to-back. They were fresh, kind of sitting, waiting. And usually at those times, they try to knock you out early. They come in with a lot of aggression and speed and pace early in the games. And so we did a good job of getting back. We did a good job of not giving up offensive rebounds and dunks and, all of those deflating plays. We did such a terrific job of focusing on that early in the game.
What do you guys need to carry with you to sort of find some success in the road? Obviously, you've been really good here. How do you take it with you?
Well, we're trying to figure that out. We really are. We got to try to find the same type of confidence on the road. I think we're getting close. I really do. Obviously had some disappointing losses on that road trip that just passed, but you got to use them all as learning experiences.
I thought once again you guys were a little funky at the quarters. Put a finger on what's going on there, or?
Nah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes we get a little careless at the end of quarters. I don't know if, maybe I need to call more sets at the end of quarters and not, let them just kind of play. I mean, that's just something that I'm kind of
Yes, please do.
learning, how to be better, closing out quarters and halves and things. I thought at the end of the second quarter, although we didn't score very much, we did a good job of getting stops. We didn't open up the lead, but that very well, if our defense wasn't as good, that did very well. We could have came in again, had a 4 or 6 point lead at the half. That's a different ball game, So I thought we did a fair job, but we could be better.
In the third quarter, Dame took like a 38-footer or whatever.
Yeah.
That can't be normal for you. Like, I know this is one of the first ones that he's taken. What is that like, seeing a guy?
I loved it. In fact, I told him to shoot it.
In real time, you told him?
In real time, I told him to shoot it. He said he had a couple go down. I knew the defense was going to be retreating, and he dribbled it kind of by me, and I said, shoot it. And I didn't know it would be from 40-something. But when he shot it, I'm right behind it. I'm like, dang, that's good. So obviously he missed it, but I was just happy to see him take it.
At what point in your career would you consider taking a 40-footer?
Let me see. I played 17 years. Still won't consider that.
I mean, you've got that bank game. When
I could make it, though.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing is I can make it, but I played for some coaches that didn't even like me shooting three-pointers. And so, but the game, obviously the game is totally different, but, man, I would have loved to have my coach telling me shoot that shot.
With 16 on the clock or whatever.
Oh, I would have loved it. And I would have done the same thing. I would have shot it, too.
Friends would walk up to me and just be like, what the fuck is in your mug?
Here's your
And I just
ad,
tell
and
them-
the ad is almost cussing. Okay. What the F is in your mug? Okay. Eric, what the F is in your cup? Oh my goodness. Alrighty. There's the Chauncey Phillips interview. Oh, what a stream. What a stream tonight.
Denthard, it is not you. The audio for the Blazers YouTube has been very low and quiet. We have it up all the way. So yeah, unfortunately. You know how when like you say something and then the next day like it shows up on your ads? Yeah, that must have been something for me.
Yeah, it's a message, man. Water, quote unquote. I don't believe it. I think you're on some Stotts lies right now, man. What do you think of the Chauncey Billups interview?
That was fine. I like that he mentioned that maybe he needs to run some sets at the end of quarters. Please do. Please.
Yeah, I agree with that. Anything else?
No, I also like that he... See, this is what's going to happen. At some point, as long as they keep communicating, which as far as I've heard, they've been talking every day, have multiple conversations, seem to be on the same page 100%. I'm speaking of Dame and Chauncey. At some point, they're going to be kind of the same mindset, and they're going to know each other so well that they're going to feel those situations. And I think that's a good step for Chauncey to kind of feel Dame needing to just let one fly and just telling him that, like, shoot it. Because those are the kind of things that Dame likes to hear. And I mean, he doesn't need to hear that from his coach. He'd probably shoot that whether he heard Chauncey say it or not. But if they can kind of get on the same wavelength without even having to communicate, that's when Dame will become so much better in his systems, because when you have your best player kind of knowing what his coach is going to say or do ahead of time, and vice versa. If you're a coach and you can kind of get into the mindset of your best player and know what's best for him to do, I think that could really pay dividends for this team.
Yeah, I like that as well. Especially when you're leading by the amount. Portland was up a lot, and Dame had just hit a couple, so, he's trying to break out of a slump. Shoot it. I like it. And it's funny to hear him talk about how some coaches didn't even want him shooting normal threes. The game has changed so much since Chauncey joined the league, so let's head around the NBA real quick. And
before you do that, Romeo, I put you in timeout for spamming. You didn't say anything bad, but just you don't have to type the same message multiple times.
Yeah, agreed. The background animation is not playing, unfortunately. Is there a way I can get it to play? I don't know. I'll have to figure that out, obviously. If you did not hear about my struggles, definitely re-listen to the start of the stream, the very start of the stream. I went over all the struggles I've had in the past 30 hours or so, and one of them was my computer and all my memory basically getting wiped, so did pretty good, but no background animation, so not as fancy for you guys, unfortunately. But we do have game scores right here. This is my first time looking at any of these scores tonight. The Nuggets barely take care of the Rockets. The Rockets have been kind of competitive lately. It hasn't been translating to wins, but they've been in games for the most part. They were beating Phoenix in the second half recently in Phoenix, and they almost beat the Nuggets tonight. Nikola Jokic with a 28 point, 14 rebound, 2 assist game. Michael Porter Jr. only played 7 minutes, missed a wide open fast break layup, and left with a quad injury that he supposedly suffered on that play. We will see the prognosis on that.
No, now it's a back injury.
Now it's a back injury?
Yeah, they said he left the game with a quad injury, and then the update said it was his back.
With how bad he missed that layup, it almost seemed... I don't know. I don't want to say he was faking it, Eric, but he missed a wide-open fast break layup at 6'10". I don't know. That might have been a Paul Pierce thing.
You know what else was hilarious about that, though?
What?
So it was Will Barton and one other Nugget, so there was 3 of them running down the court, and...
They stopped running.
They stopped running and started running back down the court, and then he missed it, and then he grabs his leg or his back or whatever, and then
it looked like he grabbed his quad. So
someone on the Rockets came and grabbed the ball. If those 2 would have just ran with him, they would have had an easy putback or whatever.
Dude, you've had some interesting plays like that play and the Harden play yesterday.
Oh man,
Shaqtin' a fool. I mean, I don't know if he got hurt on the play. That I don't know if that'll be in Shaqtin' a fool because he supposedly got hurt, but I mean the Harden play is Shaqtin' a fool play of the year. I doubt anything will surpass that. That was horrible. If you guys haven't seen that Harden clip yesterday, oh my goodness, that was something that I would have maybe thrown the remote through the TV at if it was something
one of the Blazers. And you could talk about his struggles getting into the line or not drawing fouls, but that's just boneheaded, inexcusable lapse of decision making.
And let me read off this dono because it's been sitting here for a while. I forgot to get to this. Ads, $5 dono. Appreciate it, Ads. He says, Tori and Eric, what about a game plan to intentionally draw fouls? Not worth the injury risk, or does it level the playing field against plus 500 teams? What do you think, Eric?
Well, I'm always in favor of being aggressive and trying to get to the line, especially for guys like Dame who are having trouble. And also in quarters where you get the other team to foul a couple times early in the quarter and maybe there's 7-8 minutes left and the next foul is there, you're in the bonus. I'm always a fan of playing aggressive in those situations, and that's why I've liked what Norm's doing so much. He can attack the rim and get to the line, and I'd like to just shoot a ton of free throws. Overall, our free throws are down this year compared to last year, and we're hitting less of them as well. So that's something that I think we could definitely improve on.
Yeah, I think you don't want to go out hunting fouls. You just want to be aggressive.
Especially with the rules this year.
Yeah, especially with the rules this year. But you just want to be aggressive and hopefully have that result in just the game being called the right way. Before we jump into the next game, it's 12:02 a.m., which means it is now Krish's birthday, Eric. It's Krish's birthday right now.
Happy birthday, Krish.
Spam happy birthday in the chat. I don't know if Krish is in here, but spam happy birthday for Krish. He's the guy who's helping me with graphics this year. You can also go to Twitter and spam his Twitter, Krish Graphics. You can go spam him happy birthday as well. He is a prodigy in terms of graphic design, so just wanted to wish him a happy birthday. I said that you would serenade him, Eric, so that's why you were drinking and you're ready to go. You got the vocals warmed up and everything, right?
Yeah, I'm a terrible singer, but I will definitely sing for Krish. He deserves it.
Let's hop into the next box score.
Okay. I'll do it. I don't care.
Nah. You should film a clip and send it to him. I've been through too much in the past 30 hours, man. I was confident in your vocals, but you just made me scared. So,
it's not that hard to sing the happy birthday song. It's not like you need good vocals for that.
All right. You want to do it? I'll do it with you.
All
right, 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Krish. Happy birthday to you.
Yay.
All right, there you go, Krish. I'm sure that was super out of sync. I should have had that on our faces. Oh, well. It was just on game scores. That's tragic. All righty. Probably better. I was pointing to the camera and... dang. Anyway, happy birthday, Chris. There you go. Next game score. The Heat beat the Jazz 118-115. The Jazz get their second loss of the season. This was a battle of two teams that are now 7-2 after this game. Donovan Mitchell returned, had 37 points. Kyle Lowry led the Heat with 20 points. Jimmy Butler, I don't know what. No, Kyle Lowry led the Heat with a triple-double. He had 20 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. Jimmy Butler had 27.6 assists for the Heat. They get a big win over the Utah Jazz in what was a barn burner. Eric, which one of these teams do you think is better?
When healthy, I think the Heat. I take the Heat right now, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, I would probably take the Heat as well. It'll be interesting to see how these teams do in the playoffs after kind of disappointing last year. Game number 3, you had the Philadelphia 76ers beating the Chicago Bulls 114-105. Joel and I don't know anything about this game, so I always know a little bit to be able to segue before I get the box score up. I don't know anything. Joel Embiid did play 30 points, 15 rebounds, 3 assists for the big man. They also had 25 off the bench from guess who, Eric?
Georges Niang?
No, Furkan freaking Korkmaz.
Oh, okay. I know they started the 3-guard lineup tonight with Milton, Maxey, and Curry. They went really small. And
they also started Paul Reed, who was 5 for 6 from the field. Yeah, so that was interesting. But he was a -14. Everybody else in the starting lineup had a positive plus-minus, so that's interesting. But yeah, the Furkan freaking Korkmaz, 25 points off the bench. For the Bulls, 32 from Levine, 25 points from DeMar DeRozan. He was also 1 for 1 from 3, so DeMar DeRozan can shoot this year. I guess it's the ball in a good way for DeMar DeRozan because he could not shoot threes until this year, and it's like year 12 for him or something. So that's been an interesting development. Don't play ad. Get out of here. Let's move on to game number 4. You got the Mavericks barely beating the Celtics. There've been a lot of close games this year. The Mavericks moved to 6-3. Luka Doncic had 33 points, 5 assists. What are you grunting at, Eric?
The Celtics look absolutely horrible in the first half. Were down big, and then came back and made it a game in the second half. Almost pulled out a win. But yeah, there was a lot of people complaining on social media about how bad they looked in the first half.
Yeah, Ime Udoka's still trying to figure that team out. They fall to 4-6. Outscored Dallas by 10 in the third and 4 in the fourth.
Just for the record, Jaylen Brown is out. Looks like at least 2 weeks with an injury as well. So they were without him tonight.
Yeah, that sucks for them. Your guy Aaron Nesmith might get more minutes with him out, but he did not score in 21 minutes, and I was 0-5. So your guy Nesmith was struggling. 20 from Schroeder, 32 from Tatum, 6 for 8 from 3 for Jason Tatum. So maybe he and Dame are kind of breaking out of their slumps to start the season. The Suns beat the Hawks. The Suns moved to 5-3. They were led by 38 from Devin Booker. Chris Paul had 16. DeAndre Ayton did not play in this game. JaVale McGee started in his place. They also got some minutes off from Frank Kaminsky off the bench. He had 16 points, 7 for 10 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3. 4 assists for Frank the Tank. Jalen Smith still cannot crack the rotation. They didn't even pick up his third-year option. He'll be an unrestricted free agent this next offseason. For the Hawks, they get 31 from Trae Young. He was 4 for 9 from 3, 10 for 23 from the field. So maybe he's breaking out. Maybe everybody's just breaking out of their slumps tonight. But the Hawks still lose. John Collins had 26.
This is another game. The Hawks were up big, and they actually blew it all the way. I guess they had just a meltdown in the fourth quarter.
Got outscored by 16 points in the fourth.
Complaining a lot about the refereeing in the fourth quarter. Nate McMillan made a comment that he felt like that cost them the game. Them just getting too focused on not getting calls and things like that, and completely lost their composure.
Yeah. So I'll have to watch back the Valley podcast stream for the fourth quarter to see them go from depressed to joyous.
Yeah.
The Valley podcast is our friends that cover the Phoenix Suns. They're Suns fans. Go search them up on YouTube. Subscribe to them. They are pure entertainment, to say the least. So when we play the Suns, I'll do a play-by-play stream with them once again. So definitely go subscribe to them because even though I'm not a Suns fan, man, they're entertaining. They're funny. And they work really well off each other. So the final game was our game, late tip-off, of course. That's why we are still live past midnight. That is the game scores from tonight. Here are some impressive performances. This kind of looks more normal. You've had some weird games with stars looking like role players and some role players looking like stars. I mean, we had Torrey Craig scoring 28 up on this graphic a few streams ago. So this looks more normal. You have one triple-double with Kyle Lowry, Embiid, Luka, JT, and D-Book all pop off for more than 30. Let's look at the Western Conference standings. Golden State is now in first place after Utah loses tonight. Golden State at 7-1. Portland is now finally back into the top 8 at 5-5. The Lakers are also 5-5. The Clippers are also 4-4. Of course, we just beat the Lakers and we got the Clippers next. Things are still pretty jam-packed, but you got a little bit of separation right now. It's pretty clear-cut in terms of the bottom 4 teams in the West, in my opinion, with San Antonio, OKC, Houston, and New Orleans. Anything jump out to you here, Eric?
No, I still think, well, it's starting to pan out more like people thought at the beginning of the year. But obviously not Sacramento, probably in the top 8, but other than that, a lot of people, the top 10 is pretty much what most people had the top 10 as, maybe flipping Minnesota in there for some people, but they haven't been playing well the last week or two. But yeah, so I think it's a case where...
Oh, look, I got the animation. All right. Hey, there we go.
It's blocking... It's in front of the
All right, there we go. What were you saying?
So, like, most of the teams that are considered playoff teams are now moving up there. It'll be interesting to see if LeBron is out for a while. Now, if AD misses some games, how the Lakers do. They did not fare well in those instances last year. And it's going to be interesting to see a guy like Westbrook trying to carry a team like that.
You said his name wrong.
Westbrook. Yeah.
Yeah, come on. Come on. Even Derek Fisher gets it.
Yeah, shout out to Derek Fisher. Yep.
Shout out to Derek Fisher. All right.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the Blazers can continue to climb. They pass up Dallas, Phoenix, and Sacramento at least, and Memphis. Right now, it looks like Golden State and Utah are kind of the clear-cut top two, but obviously it's so early, and Phoenix is starting to play a little better. So it'll be interesting to see how the Lakers and the Suns really progress throughout the course of this season. Let's look at the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia up top, despite missing some games from Joel Embiid. It's almost like them not having all-world defender and playmaker Benjamin Simmons. It doesn't seem to matter. It doesn't seem to affect them. He's supposedly the problem solver for the Portland Trailblazers, but it's no problem for Philadelphia without him. Sitting there at 8-2. So maybe Ben Simmons will see their success and want to take part in it, and maybe he'll return to the court. I don't know. We will see. Other than that, you got the top 8 teams are all 6-4 or better. You got 4 teams at 6-3. Washington looks good. Cleveland looks good. I was a little bit bullish on the Cavs going into this season. I should have predicted them with a better record. I said if there's a team that's going to make a jump and surprise people, it's Cleveland. We'll see if they continue, because they had a good start last year as well. Kind of had a start like this and then just fell off. But Evan Mobley, your guy Evan Mobley, Eric, is doing wonders for that team defensively. So and they're an interesting case study, starting 3 7-footers in a league that's kind of trended small.
Yeah.
But you got Milwaukee there at 10. See, that's what's interesting too, is you got Milwaukee there at 10 at 4-5. So they're obviously not going to stay there. Boston down there, Atlanta down there. The East looks super competitive this season. The East
sure.
might finally be better than the West. I don't know. It's early, so I'm not going to say that definitively. But if you look at things right now, the East looks very competitive.
I mean, obviously Miami and Brooklyn, you'd think should be right up there with some of the West teams. And Milwaukee, they've had some injuries and they don't have as much depth as they've had in the past, in my opinion. So it's kind of hurting them. But if they're healthy, those 3 teams are definitely up there. But I think you're just seeing that there's a lot of parity. It doesn't necessarily mean they're really good, but they're all kind of okay teams, and it should be a fun battle. Other than those 3 teams, I expect to be near the top at the end of the season, but all the rest of the teams battling it out for those other spots should be really fun to watch.
Yep, agree with that. Let's look at the Blazers' next 5 games before we wrap things up here. You got the Clippers next, and then the Suns. So that Suns game is going to be on the 9th is a Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, back-to-back.
Yeah, so I wonder when my rec league team plays, man, because we haven't had a Tuesday or a Thursday game all season long, which has been nice because that's when my rec league is. And my rec league is 6 to 9 p.m., so hopefully I have a 6 p.m. game. We're undefeated right now, so it's not like I can miss that. So I'll have to figure things out around that, but it's a TNT game, so I definitely want to catch it. And then on Wednesday, play-by-play stream on Gabe's channel, right? Gabe, I just saw Gabe in chat. I'll hop on with you guys for that, and maybe, I mean, with how we've played on the road, you guys might get your vengeance and blow us out, considering, I mean, I was on their stream for the game we blew them out, and it was something. So hopefully that's competitive, though.
Also, Carson Dunn, Dro, and I'm blanking on the other person from last night that said they would be there, but we'll have some Blazer fans in attendance for that Phoenix Suns game.
Wow, shout out to you guys down there in the desert.
I think it's Andrew Miller, actually.
Yeah, too bad Gabe doesn't live in Phoenix. I'd tell you guys to go on a manhunt for Gabe Von Carter, but you know he's a Austin, Texas. He's living in Walmart, Portland right now. Houston is our matchup after that on Friday night. All these games are on the road. So that's our first bottom feeder this season. Hopefully we can take care of business against the Houston Rockets on the road. And then we finish up the road trip with Denver. And, I mean, we got a back-to-back. We just had a back-to-back. We got 2 days off, then another back-to-back. And then 14th and 15th, another back-to-back. There's 6 back-to-backs in November, so a ton of basketball, a ton of games. I broke that down in my schedule breakdown, but we got a rematch against the Denver Nuggets, so it'll be interesting to see how we look like against them. Obviously, that was the playoff matchup this past season. They're still without Jamal Murray, still kind of have a very similar team, so do we. But obviously the coaching change and no Melo and Kanter off the bench will be interesting to see. Hopefully we're playing good basketball on the road by then, so it can be more of a litmus test than just, oh wow, we can't do anything on the road and we are great at home.
We'll watch that game on Roots Ports.
That fourth game has been Root Sports with the double P for 2 or 3 streams now, so maybe it'll be fixed next game, but no promises. The last game on this schedule is interesting. I don't know if Scotty Barnes will be back by then. Is he back already?
He played last night. And Siakam is back on Sunday, so he'll be back for this one as well.
Yeah, so you got those two, and you also have Gary Trent Jr.'s homecoming. So you had Melo's homecoming tonight. This will be Gary Trent Jr.'s first game back in Portland.
Yep, that'll be a fun one.
Yeah, so...
unfortunately, it sucks, though, 4-game road trip and then having to play a back-to-back and not even getting a day off after the road trip. Like, that's just horrible scheduling, but whatever.
Yep, it's a test. Should definitely beat Houston. Want to beat one of the Clippers and the Suns at least, and then want to at least beat one of the Nuggets and the Raptors. I mean, you have 4 very solid teams here, so definitely just want to try and go 3-2. We'd be sitting at 8-7 above 500. The goal through the first 20 games is just to maintain 500 at least, considering how tough our schedule is. We've gotten some breaks. I mean, the Lakers tonight, we beat them. We also beat the Suns earlier this season, so that's 2 teams that were projected to be top of the West. The Suns were healthy, and we just had a really good game. The Lakers obviously are not, so we did catch a bit of a break there, but those were 2 games. Looking at the schedule at the start of the season where you're looking at it like, it's going to be tough for Portland under a new coach to be able to win those 2, and we have. The thing is, you look at a Cleveland game, though, and you expect to win that one, and we lose, so... overall, I mean, it hasn't necessarily been as hard in terms of like players missing. We didn't play Joel Embiid there in Philadelphia and still lost that game, but you're getting teams out of the way that if you're facing them later on in the season would be tough games to win because of how quality those teams are. So that's the thing is once we get through this stretch, we have a bunch of games against OKC and Minnesota and San Antonio and both games against Detroit, both games against, some of the bottom feeders there in the West or in the East with the Orlando Magic as well. So it's gonna be a good second half of the season, in my opinion. Just gotta make sure to maintain 500 at least and figure out some consistency on the road.
Yeah.
So that's the next 5 games.
Yep, I'm just hoping for a split on the road. I mean, obviously I want better than a split, but go 2-2 and then take care of business at home like we have been, and try to make up for the tired legs somehow by giving some of your young players maybe a little more minutes in that game.
Yeah, agreed with that. So 2 days off in terms of games. We will be live on Monday with Blazers Uprise Live. I said that might get moved to Tuesday, but my streaming software setup was saved. I didn't realize that was going to happen. Apparently the account that I log into OBS with just saves the setup, and even some of the files, they save them in OBS. So I thought I was going to have to reconfigure picks against the spread, which is a lot to configure, but the configuration is fine. I just have to remake all the graphics for that to plug them in. So should be able to get that done by Monday, and we'll have picks against the spread, and we'll preview the upcoming game against the Los Angeles Clippers. We also might have an update on this Neil Olshey situation, and even if we don't, we can touch on that a little bit, assuming we maybe get at least another nugget or something, and that will be the plan for Monday. I'll upload this stream audio to Spotify. Missed the past couple of games. Obviously, last night's I didn't have my computer, so gonna get back to that with this game. And other than that, maybe a mailbag on Monday. I want to drop a mailbag on Monday, so I'll post a community prompt some point tonight or tomorrow for your mailbag questions. You can ask them in the community tab, and I will put together a mailbag video for Monday. Anything else?
Yeah, real quick, I have someone DMing me, asking me a question that doesn't want to seem like a casual or whatever, which this is a totally legit question for someone who doesn't know like what all the stats mean and everything. But would you please explain what plus minus is so our audience, that people that don't understand that, knows what it is?
Yeah, and I can maybe touch on that a little bit stream to stream in the future. Plus minus is basically if a player, I'll just use an example, that's the easiest way to explain it. If Damian Lillard is a plus 10 for a game, that means that the Blazers outscored the other team by 10 points with Damian Lillard on the court. So if Damian Lillard is a minus 10, that means when Dame was on the court, the Blazers got outscored by 10 points. So if somebody's, a minus 20, that's not good. That means when they played, their team got outscored by 20 points. If they're up, I think the best one was like Rocco was plus 30 tonight. Let me go find the box score and just see who had the best plus minus from this game tonight. Let's see. It was Robert Covington was a plus 30 tonight. So with Robert Covington on the floor in his 32 minutes tonight, the Blazers outscored the Lakers by 30 points.
And yeah, when you blow a team out, usually most of your players, not including garbage time, would have really good plus minus.
Yeah, and you look at the garbage time, like Tony Snell played the final 8 minutes, was a minus 17. So we got outscored by 17 in garbage time. That's how our lead went from 34 to 15 being the final margin. Hopefully that makes sense for the person asking that question.
Plus minus is a very... I mean, we talk about it sometimes, but it's not the end-all, be-all. It could... Because there's 5 people on the court.
Players on the court. Yeah.
So...
It's you have to provide context with it. It can be a noisy stat. If it's something that, the Blazers are outscoring teams with Nurkic on the court, and then with Zeller on the court, they're getting outscored, that's the case for like a 50-game sample size, then that probably says something. You just have to keep in mind that it's also dependent on the other 4 players on the court during that stretch.
Nurk is also playing with the starters, and Zeller's playing with the bench, so it could be that the rest of the bench sucks or whatever,
So a lot of times you'd have to compare like Zeller's plus minus with Nance's, since that's who he's playing with most of the time, and then you have to have a lot of context with plus minus to be able to actually like maybe analyze anything from it. I just toss it out there for you guys to think about. I'm not, saying that Zeller was like, the thing is with Cody Zeller is his plus minus hasn't been good, and Nance's has been okay despite them playing a lot together, and then a little bit separately, which means that the little bit they're playing separately, the team's doing a lot better with Nance in the game than Zeller in the game. So it's kind of hard to figure things out based off of it, but it does provide some food for thought, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then one more question. I'm not going to say this person's name because that is a very questionable username. But got a question. When do you go live after games? 30 minutes?
Normally, like 5 to 10 minutes after games. Eric last night had to set up stream because my computer died, so obviously that was later. If I go to Blazer games, it's going to be about 30 minutes after games. And tonight I just had to finish resetting up my computer and everything since the memory got wiped, so that's why I was live about 30 minutes after the stream. But next stream should be live 5 to 10 minutes after. The way you can keep up with that, instead of just sitting there refreshing, just follow Blazers Uprise YT on Twitter. There's a link in the description below for our Twitter page. You can turn on notifications for that. And you can also turn on notifications for the channel if you hit the bell button below. So you can be notified when we do go live instead of sitting there having to refresh it constantly. So there are ways to make it a little bit easier on you guys.
For sure.
Yeah. So anything else you want to say for the stream before I hit the sign off?
Just want to thank everyone for watching. We really appreciate the support. Chat was a little better than it has been recently. But yeah, so we appreciate everyone for watching. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Hopefully things get better for me. I've had bad luck lately. Hopefully that does not continue. I've been in scramble mode for the past 24 hours, so it's going to be nice to finally be able to relax after this stream. Hope you guys have a relaxing rest of your night or Sunday morning, actually. And daylight savings time ends soon, which I hate. I think it needs to be permanent, but that's another topic for Twitter.
That would be nice, but this is always better than the spring one because we get an extra hour of sleep.
I'd rather lose I'd rather have it be light at like 5, 6 p.m.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? I hate that it gets dark at like 4:30.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
I agree with that. Yeah.
That's terrible. So I'll take losing the hour, man. I'll take losing the hour. So that's my thoughts on it. Should have made a poll for daylight savings time because that's always a hot topic this time of year. Is that like 2 hours from now?
Yeah, it's usually at 2
o'clock. Is that this morning? 2 o'clock. Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. I will see you guys later. I will see you guys on Monday. Stay tuned for the community tab, mailbag question post, and if you want to listen back to any part of the stream, stay tuned for the Spotify upload or just watch it back on here. As always, once again, happy birthday to Krish.
Happy birthday, Krish.
Bonnie's always the most thoughtful person in chat, so shout out to her. And we're out of here. Hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend and a good Sunday. I'll catch some of y'all on Twitter. If not, whenever I catch you next, have a good one. Until then, as always, peace out.